Welcome in, friends, to Pack 3 of the Fan Home Build Your Own Toyota Supra. Today we are continuing on the engine block, and as you can see, I already have the parts for stage 6 laid out. But before we begin, I do want to bring up something that the World of Wayne had mentioned in one of his videos about this particular build, and that is why everything is out of the blister pack and I was checking it out. So to start this pack, we need the right side of the engine block, which came in this pack. We also need this little piece here, which is going to be the support bracket for the engine mount. Now, as you may be able to see on camera, maybe you cannot, is that it is cut in a specific way. And this is what the World of Wayne was pointing out. This piece goes on here. But this is also keywayed so that when you put the engine support mount in, the support mount goes the correct way. If you were to put this in with the two notches the correct way, the engine support would be facing upward. You do not want that. You want the engine support facing down. So, I want to thank the World of Wayne for pointing that out so that I could check to see if my model had the same issue. It does, but the thing you have to remember is that this is a fairly new model. This is one of the things that Fan Home and D'Agostini may or may not address at a later date. With that, let's get this started. This bracket is going to push into here with the two locating pins. And then you are going to take the mounting bracket, the engine mount itself, and this is the end you want to slide into the block. This needs to be facing down, which is why the bump outs are facing the back of the engine. That's going to sit in there like that. I have CM screws right here, though we only need one. And I am going to be holding this in place as I turn it over. And I get our CM screw started. I do also want to mention that I hope you guys are in for a long video, because we do have 3 packs for engine building. Though they may not look complicated from my experience, they do tend to be long videos. So now, next we need our oil pan. And we need this detail, which is our oil pan plug. In real life, this would be a bolt that you unbolted from the pan. In this case, it's just going to be a little screw in. Or a little push in, I should say. And we are going to take our tweezers Okay, well, it's gonna fight us. Alright, well, that's another small piece temporarily lost. I will locate it in between videos and I will get it put in place. I'm not going to hold the video up for that. So now we want the underside of the transmission, and we want to take our oil pan and set it there, and this is going to be held together with 4 AP screws. We'll take our AM screw and put it in our box. and let's get our oil pan screwed into place. Now, if any of you watching this also watch the Casey Liddell YouTube channel, I do want to give a big shout out to Casey Liddell, who recently just put out a video that said the reason his videos are underrated is because he doesn't have a production team and all of that. He does all the filming, all the video editing, and all of that himself. And that's because he wants his videos to be as real life as possible. And I can agree with him on that. The reason you don't see any fancy editing in my videos is because I want you guys to see the mistakes I make. I want you guys to see the struggles I go through. It's realistic. If you cut out all the things that you don't do or that you get wrong, how are people who potentially might be doing this going to learn from it? And our last step in this pack that wasn't an AM screw that I had used. So now I have an AM screw in with screws that it doesn't belong with. That's okay. We'll figure that out later. It was still a metal screw. We are going to get an AM loaded up. And then we are going to take this and we're going to set this on the oil pan, just like that. And it is going into place with an AM screw. Actually, two. Judging by the amount of AM screws they gave us, we are going to be attaching the engine block to the oil pan as well. That's securely in place. And yes, we are going to be securing the engine block to the oil pan. Get that started. And with that, that is all there is to do in that stage. Now I am bringing over the next section. Which looks like we are doing another engine mount. Okay, so once again, it's got that keywayed engine mount support bracket. And once again, from the looks of it, we are going to have to go the opposite direction. You know, I wonder nope. I think all they did was made the one part and used it and didn't even think about how the mold was. Okay, so at least in this one, in the assembly instructions, they do show putting the piece on with the bump outs heading opposite where they show on the block. If I can get my bag of metal screws open. There we go. We will get those dumped out. And I will actually get one put back in this bag that's labeled CM. So we're going to go ahead and take out our engine block. Let's just go ahead and get our parts laid out here. We have our starter. And then the second side of our cylinder head. Which we don't need at the moment. Let's get our CM screw loaded up. And let's take our engine block. Get our mount pushed into place. Get our keyed engine mount in place. And let's get it secured. Right now we are currently sitting at 24 minutes, which is actually a lot better than I thought we would be. But we do still have some turbo assemblies coming up. That mount is sturdy. Now it wants us to push the starter parts together. So that's going to go just like that. And set that to the side. And now it wants us to actually put the starter on the block. So let's get our AP screws dumped out. And get one loaded up. And with the starter, if you can see it, you will see there is a locating pin and a hole. They want the hole facing down, so it is going to go right here. And we are going to screw it in from this side. Now we have one part left. But it is not anything we are doing anything with at the moment. Okay. So, bringing over the next stage. We are still doing pretty good on time. I am unsure if we're going to need the engine block for any of this stage. So we have a flanged BP screw. We have some details. And we have AP screws. So nothing going into metal. So I can only assume we're done with the engine block for now. I do apologize. I am still waiting for the assembly instructions to load. Okay, so the last time this happened, there we go. So if you are in the US and you are building this model, or any model with a digital assembly instruction guide, and you run across the problem of the guide not wanting to load, simply open another browser tab, X out of the tab for Fan Home that you already had open, and sign into Fan Home again. And then just go to your assembly instructions, and it should bring the instructions up pretty quick. That's what I just did. So for the first part of this stage, we are going to need our BP screws. I am going to keep this bag because these BP screws are flanged. And it is showing we need this piece and this piece. So you want the shaft of the air intake tube going to the middle. And with a flanged BP loaded up, you want to go right down the center of this to get to the hole to hold these two pieces together. For some reason, the BP screw doesn't hold the air filter secure enough from turning, but I can live with that. Next, we're going to need part 8B, which is this part here. And it is literally just pushing into the end of the air filter, like such. So that is our air filter built. So next we need eight E, 8J, that is not J, so J must be this one. And then we need 8D. I'm going to put this flanged BP back in its bag. And now we are building turbos. These should just be a push together. Okay, that is on. And 8J is in place. Now we need 8G and 8H. And we want to push these together as well. There we go. I think. Mine is being very stubborn. There we go. Now they are lined up and pushed together. So this one is going to go on the opposite side with the bigger side hole facing out. And because this is keyed, it'll only go in one way or not. We are going to need an AP screw. So that's another something to look out for, is to see whether or not your 8G is D-slotted or not. Oh, okay, mine was, it just wasn't turned enough. So we're going to put the AP screw in. To hold it in place. That's snug. Though that turbo is loose. So now it is showing that I need this piece here, which is going to be your air intake. No, this says it's the exhaust manifold. And you are going to want it with this locating pin going this way around. And then you have the screw right basically in the center of your exhaust manifold. No, I would say that's only about a third of the way. Okay. Turbos are mounted on the exhaust manifold. Now it's showing that we need this piece here to be pushed in here. So that's in place to cover that screw. And now we need the cylinder head from the last pack. Which is this one here. And we need to place the manifold up against it. And with two AP screws, we're going to hold the exhaust manifold onto the cylinder head. Okay, that is that installed. So now it wants us to take 7C and our exhaust manifold and place this part from pack stage 7 into the engine head. And it also wants us to place this onto the turbo. They are both push-ins. And now we need this part. This part. And our oil filter. We also need these two decals. These two decals are going to go on this silver part. It'll be hard to see on camera, but one side it comes straight out. The other side is angled. And we want the side that is angled going into the part. This is going to be, I assume, our oil filter housing unit. It does have these two prongs on it, which I'm assuming is what the tubing is for that is in the pack. Now we have a keywayed part to go in the back here. It's also keywayed. And so is our oil filter. So that's going on looking like that. Okay, so it does say we need the piping. The shorter of the two, which is shown to be 8Q, which is this one, is going to be going on this nipple or prong right here. And I am not unafraid to admit that I was kind of nervous about this part of building the motors. Being a first time 1/8 scale model builder myself. That tube is on and in place. And I'm just going to go ahead and widen up that opening a little bit. This is 8P. And that's just going to go on this other prong. And that is in place. It then wants us to take this side of the engine block with the starter on it and place our assembly right here with an 8P screw. So this is going to be a little awkward. As you try to hold the assembly in place and tighten it from the other side. The assembly is keywayed, but it doesn't go all the way on against the block. It actually sits off the block a little bit. That is snug. It wants us to take the last 3 parts, which is this chrome piece, and these 2 pieces here, and the side that has the little bit of a bump out, that needs to be up, and these are just going to push onto these tabs here. This is the turbo cover mounting. So in other words, this is a heat shield for the turbos. So at the end of this stage, which is also the end of this pack, this is what we end up with. We also have from our previous video the other cylinder head, which we haven't touched yet, and our valve cover. So the motor is moving along quite nicely. But with that, that is all for this video. If you like what you have seen, please hit that like button. Leave a comment. If you are not yet subscribed, please consider doing so, as that subscribe button is free and it helps out my channel. With that, I wish you all a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are, whenever you may be watching this. Thank you.